What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of In the Wild. I'm Rayshawn, and today we have a little treat for you because if you are thinking about attending Augusta University, this is the episode all for you. Because first up, we have Matthew Coverson-Springs, who is an assistant director for student recruitment in our Office of Academic Admissions, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about just what makes Augusta University unique, what makes us like no other, and all the experiences that you could get if you choose to enroll here. And then we're going to talk to Sierra Sasha Webber, who is the coordinator for Multicultural Student Engagement, and she's also holds a special title of coordinator for our Augusta Promise Scholarship program. And that's a very unique program to our university because if you didn't already know, AU is one of the most affordable colleges in the state of Georgia. And we have this special scholarship program that makes us help bridge that gap for those students in need. So I hope you're ready to learn all things about AU in this episode because here we go. Welcome, Matthew, to In the Wild. Super excited to have you here. You're relatively a new JAG on campus. For our listeners, do you mind just giving them a little introduction about what you do?
Yes, sir. So I'm the assistant director of recruitment specifically for the Metro Atlanta area. So my job essentially is to work all through the city of Atlanta and all surrounding counties and making sure that we are able to service the students the way we want to and make sure we're bringing students from that big city to all the big experiences we have here at Augusta University.
I love that. And talking about big experiences, what would you say makes AU a valuable place to go to compared to other institutions?
I think what really makes AU stand out is, just how unique the campus and environment is. We like to say in the admissions office, we offer experience like no other. And, a lot of students, when they hear it, think, of course, we are offering something very special and very different. And yes, we do that. But I think what's most special is that we allow students to build the experience that they want to have. So even when it's broken down for, how their classes will be set up and, thinking about just the traditional structure of class and school, we're able to give students some options and versatility, but also a great time and a great community.
I love that. And as an alum, even though we didn't have the tagline experience like no other when I was a student, I do feel like that's still true, being able to come here and I want to say in certain ways leave my mark on campus, especially during the time of when we were becoming one institution. Definitely had an experience like no other. And what do you think are some of the common misconceptions people, or I guess in this case, prospective students may have about applying to college in general?
I think one of the biggest things that students don't necessarily think of when it comes to applying, how in-depth the process is and, how much there is more to know. A lot of people look at schools and they may look at sports and things like that, but it's so much more that can be offered than experience. And I think the key is that customer service. We're living in a time where that intimacy between students and their counselors is most important because students don't have just a cookie cutter path. There's so many different things to them. Students are so multifaceted. So for AU, that's kind of like our approach to make sure that we are meeting those students where they're at, even when it comes to communication level. And I think that really makes a difference and makes the process easier for a student.
No, for sure. I remember before I came back to the university in this role, I used to work as a college advisor and helping students, mainly juniors and seniors, prepare for the college application process and kind of bridging that gap. And there were a lot of misconceptions. I 100% agree with what you said of a lot of them don't realize that it's a full process. It's not you just sign your name on a dotted line and you're good to go. There's a lot of things. But for those who may be, unfamiliar with the steps that there are to take, do you mind breaking it down a little bit?
Sure. So for a traditional undergrad, for us, of course, the first step is the application. Our applications open up start of August and usually close sometime in the summertime. But as they say, the early bird gets the worm. So first step is always application, but then just sending in those different requirements. So that transcript showing us how your experience was in high school. And then test scores, SAT or ACT as well for students. Make sure we receive all those documentation. From there, we make our decision on the admission side, but outside of that, there's so much more steps for students going into financial aid and getting their housing together. But we also try to make sure they know about the robust, activities we have at Augusta University. So like even on our portal, we offer different ways for them to see what we have to offer, connecting with their counselor, let them meet our student leaders who, not only are students here and enjoying their time, but they're enjoying the ability to serve incoming students and let them know what can be expected at Augusta University. So just make sure you're checking all those steps down. And lastly, just being excited for moving when it comes to coming to open house and our admitted students day and so much more. Just starting to build that bond and connection with the university you're choosing to go to.
Yeah, I think that definitely makes a difference because I don't want anybody to be like me where I wasn't checking my email and I only was looking at the stuff that came into the mail, like the physical mail, when they were like, you need to register for orientation and you need to sign up for housing if you're going to live on campus. Like all of those additional things once you've been accepted that for me as a first generation college now graduate, I had to think about.
Yeah.
What would you say for, I guess, the AU admissions process are some of like the most important factors when you're looking for a student, like a new Jaguar? Like what are the key factors?
For us, when we try to make a space and community that all students can come into and be able to grow themselves, we pride ourselves on being the smallest and cheapest comprehensive research institution as well. So what we like to say is a value for today and a value for tomorrow. So in that sense, making sure students know that, one, we have more to offer than just medicine. Definitely we're deeply rooted in that, but there's so many other areas of expertise that we do, over 150 different degree programs for students. So one, just making it a space that all students are open to as well. But outside of that, I'd say our approach is, find students who are dedicated to making a change, to offering something to their community, to the state of Georgia, to the world. I think that always perks our interest. I know for myself, definitely just hearing students' stories and where they want to take it, and it just makes my job easier because I can give them the steps we have to make sure you get from point A to point B.
And I guess switching gears a little bit, from your perspective, what's the most rewarding part about doing your job? Because with the role that you're in, you're helping them in such a important time in their lives. So what, I guess, stands out to be the most rewarding part of accepting students?
I think just the hands-on and being there for the journey, not just the destination. I think in the past, it's always easy to say, all right, they put their application in, now they're here. But there's so many steps in between because you're not just getting them to go to school. This is going to be the next 4 years of their life. So you're finding them a new home, new opportunities, new friends, just a whole new experience for them to recreate themselves for, the future that they want to have. So I think these steps in between, I think is the best part. And that's what kind of makes my role special because I'm regionally in the Atlanta area. So I'm able to connect with them and come to these school visits and student accept day and, all different events that they have, even like things in the community. If they're having like a festival, then, hey, AU's here, we're setting up. Come let us know if you have any questions and, build that conversation. So just kind of walking them through the steps and making sure they're getting everything they need to not just get accepted and attend AU, but to already set themselves up to have the best experience they possibly can have.
What would you say are one of the favorite events that you've been to when it comes to your job?
My favorite events, I typically like to say I like the personal college fairs that individual schools have because each school has their own culture and structure of how they work for their student body. So sometimes you'll go, one of my favorites, I love going to Kings Ridge Christian School in Atlanta because they make sure they have that one-on-one experience, and not only do they cater to their students, but they try to cater to their counselors as well. So they have like nice meals and good one-on-one time with the students.
Oh, nice.
And give us that time to really connect with them and speak to them outside of just, all right, these are the classes you're going to take and what's this going to be like academically? No, what else is the social aspect like? What kind of support do we have? What is, just the opportunities when it comes to studying abroad and doing research? So they really get in depth, and that's why I kind of like the personalized college fairs, because it's great to go to large locations and speak to a lot of people. But I think our goal is not just reach as many people as possible, but make an impact on as many people as possible. And I think that's the real difference when it comes to the role.
So when students typically come to you and say, I would love to go to Augusta for one of the programs that we offer, because like you said, we have like over 150, so there's so many options they have.
Yeah.
But when they ask about what is it like for in regards to student life and living on campus and just being in Augusta, what do you tell them?
So, of course, I like to add in a couple of different tidbits, like come to our on-campus barbecue, pig out, talk about Elite Week. But I think my best approach is to make sure I'm able to give that transparency. And that's why I love how we have so many great student leaders, and not just people who help out in admissions, but they're out in the community. They have their hands in all different things at AU and make sure that they're getting their experience and passing it on. So I tell them a couple of different things we have, but I say, better yet, let me show you. Come to campus. We do visits on Tuesday, Thursday, group visits on Wednesday, even Saturday tours, open house. And we have other different things like ZME, virtual conversations, even connecting them with students who are already here. Because it's better for you to hear it from the horse's mouth than just a recruiter, So actually hearing from a student who is there in the midst of all different things can let you know what's going on now, what's happened, and what we're looking to do going forward.
I love that. And so if you had to boil it down to, let's say, 3 words for what gives or what makes the Augusta advantage, like what makes Augusta stand out, what would you tell a prospective student?
I would say 3 words, definitely flexibility, community, and support. I think we offer those in more than enough ways. Always having different support systems for our students. Flexibility, not just in the type of degree you can have, but not letting you just be boxed in by just one major as well. So I think those 3 things that I think stand out the most and represent us pretty well.
I can see that. And I also love how interdisciplinary our university is, whether you are a student who wants to go into healthcare or arts or cyber. I feel like our university does a really great job of connecting all of those dots where you get to experience a little bit of everything. So whether you may intend it to, because like I tell people all the time, like once upon a time there's a little boy named Ray Sean that wanted to be a nurse, and then he took a biology 1107 and realized that he loves science, but he can't make science his career. But then you can still do, say, science or health sciences communication, or having that blend of a major that you didn't think or a career path that you didn't think was possible just from having all the interdisciplinary interactions here on campus. And also, before I let you go, for students who may be concerned about the cost of college, you did mention that we're one of the most affordable in the state of Georgia, which is great. But what are some of their options for students who may be worried about paying or how they would pay for college?
Okay, good question. So, of course, AU does offer some institutional scholarships. That's always available. Outside of that, we give students a wide array of different external scholarships. But more than that, we even allow students to kind of break up how their experience is going to look. So it's not mandatory to live on campus. That's going to save you a lot of cost. All the different scholarships we have, but even once you start attending, because a lot of times it's easy for students to get scholarships for that first year. But continuing through sometimes is the kicker in higher ed across the board. So tons of different experiences and opportunities for students when it goes into their sophomore, junior, senior year, or even going into that graduate level. We try to make sure we have opportunities. But also, we like to show you what we have to value. So for the students I speak to, I say, hey, these is how you get access to our scholarships. We can have a cost calculator. This is going to let you know exactly what you need. And if you round it up and maybe you need an additional $1,000, well, tons of different scholarships that offer that and is available. It's better for you to know that now in September, October than, June, July. So making sure that we kind of walk through the whole process for them so they understand the value that we offer, but also how we try to match it in a value that's reasonable for all students.
Any final thoughts to prospective students out there?
I say definitely get out your comfort zone. Georgia is much bigger than most people would think. So come and visit. We're always happy to see new students. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to get involved. Just come hang out and we can see how we can definitely make a great experience for you.
Well, I appreciate it, Matthew, to talk to me, and everybody who's watching, stay tuned because more stuff when we come back. All right.
Hello, my name is Susan Davies, and I'm your Vice President for Enrollment and Student Affairs. I'm so delighted that I get to talk with you today about 4 to Finish. These are 4 aspects that we want you to incorporate into your life here at Augusta University in order to be successful. We feel like if you incorporate 4 to Finish, that you will be happier with your Augusta University experience and that you'll graduate on time. So what is 4 to Finish? Number 1, engage. We want you to engage both inside and outside of the classroom. Join a club or organization, speak with your faculty member after class, engage in undergraduate research. Number 2, we want you to make purposeful choices. Make purposeful choices about how you spend your time, about your major, and even about who you study with. Make purposeful choices. 3 is to develop your academic mindset. We want you to come into college and to be a student here at Augusta University with a growth mindset, with a mindset that allows for you to learn from others and to bounce back easily from mistakes. And number 4 is to follow your program pathway. This means following your curriculum in order to graduate on time, but it also means thinking about what you want to incorporate into your academic program to make it even more holistic for you. That might include an internship or student leadership. When you graduate from Augusta University, we want you to graduate with your degree in one hand and a career plan in the other. And 4 to Finish will get you there.
Sierra Sasha, welcome to In the Wild. Super excited to have you.
Thank you.
You're still relatively new JAG on campus, but how has it been so far being a part of AU?
Yeah, so essentially my past 7 months has been nice being here at AU. I am essentially an Augusta native. I went to Academy, Richmond County down the street.
Okay.
So yeah, I know of everything when, AU had the different name changes and things like that, especially when they was definitely advocating a few years for the big name change. So it's nice essentially coming back and serving the community.
Well, we're excited to have you, so thanks for being here. And today we're talking about, just for our prospective students out there, some of the unique opportunities that they could get or experience with us because, we are an experience like no other.
Yeah.
And part of that, to me, is the Augusta Promise Scholarship.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that scholarship for those who are unfamiliar?
Yeah, so essentially the Augusta Promise program is essentially new last semester. I kind of got hired to do that position. So a little bit about my position. I am the Access and Education Coordinator within the Office of Multicultural Student Engagement. So to kind of break my position down to subcategories. So the access part, there is, of course, Augusta Promise Scholars that I work directly for. So I am their coordinator. And then, of course, I help host first-gen initiatives here on campus. So essentially, the Augusta Promise Scholarship program is a start-to-finish program, right? So literally, the students do an application who are HOPE or Pell eligible, live and reside in the state of Georgia. Essentially, when it comes down to the Augusta Promise program, students who reside in Georgia who are either HOPE or Zell Miller eligible can essentially apply to be a part of the Augusta Promise program. Of course, we have the interview process and things like that, but it is a start to finish program for students to have additional funding for they can actually graduate essentially debt free. That's the goal. Yeah. I wish I had that type of program.
Right. Because Zell Miller and Hope are great, but basically there can sometimes still be a little bit of a gap,
Yeah.
and that can certainly help students who are in need.
Yeah, so like literally it helps with like housing, like food, or, just getting those extra textbooks and things of that nature. It's just like the little extra push where, you might essentially, some students may take out a credit card or like an additional loan. And it's like, nope, we're here to kind of serve you to make you feel more included and don't have to worry about the extra things.
I love that. And like you said, I wish that was something that existed when I was a student here, but
Yeah.
I feel like I say that all the time. Like when I was a student here, I wish all of these things existed. What do you think inspired the creation of this program?
Yeah, so essentially, in my perspective, looking at the creation of the program is to essentially just be another resource for the students, right? At least so far, to my awareness, I don't see any other universities doing this. So essentially, as we know, AU is the experience like no other, and we are very innovative and try to start new initiatives that will better help the students progress. And those things are important because, like we kind of state and things like that, like nobody kind of wants to go to college feeling like they don't have the extra support that they may not be getting from their family aspects or their guardian aspects. And it's like, of course, we want to build that great experience. Of course, belonging is, the most important thing. So allowing Augusta Promise to kind of start this creation and to help the students with those resources is important because even within our program, there might be the scholarship aspect, but we do community building. We do those extra, of course, the mentorship, the counseling, whatever that student needs. I'm essentially one of the liaisons. Like I said, I'm the coordinator. So I kind of help build those external or internal resources for those students. So of course, they have to do academic success pieces. They have 2 community building events per semester with me. They do have a mentor in the program and things like that who is an upperclassman, first generation college student as well. So they have all these different pieces and resources that, other students may not have the ability to have.
I love that because it sounds really holistic in your approach. Not just say, okay, here's some extra funding for you, but you're actually saying like, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to make sure you're good here.
It gets you more accommodated to the campus.
Yeah.
Because, like, funding is nice. Of course, you can have the money in the world and things like that, but it's like, do you belong? Do you feel valued? Do you feel welcome? Do you feel seen, right? So at the end of the day, as a person who experienced college myself and then grad school, I didn't feel belonging. I didn't have the sense of belonging at my first university and things like that. So kind of building those gaps and segues for these set of students who come in each year, it's important because, it's important because everybody wants to feel seen, essentially, no matter what that looks like at whatever university.
Right. And hearing you say that kind of reminds me of my first year on campus. I'm also first gen college graduate now.
Yeah.
But definitely that was a new experience for me as well as my family. Did not come from the most privileged family, so support was limited, especially for me being 2 hours away. Like, you kind of...
I went 6.5. I went straight.
Wow.
I went straight to Florida again.
So you're experiencing independence on your own for the first time, and if you don't necessarily have someone that you can just call on for that extra support, whether it be financial or emotional, mental. I think a program like that can definitely, like you mentioned, like help bridge a lot of those gaps and help you feel like you belong. Because before I started getting involved on campus, I did kind of question my place on campus and things here, like school is going okay, but that's it. And college is a lot more comprehensive than just academics.
Yeah, like all of the struggles that you essentially stated, and then on top of being first gen myself, it was hard to navigate what different events do I want to go to? Like, where's everybody going? Do I even fit in with everybody and things of that nature? So, like, with the Augusta Promise Scholarship program, essentially, like I said, you have that built-in mentor. And essentially, we're very particular about, like, the parent and things like that. Okay. So, like, if you have seen some of the Augusta Promise Scholars, the mentee and mentorship, essentially, it is very authentic. Like, we have we have a scholar and a partner. Both of them are music majors. Well, actually, no. One is psychology, and our scholar, she's a music major. and they're like the bestest friends, and it's very authentic, and it's nothing forced. They do their monthly check-in, but they literally check in with each other every day to kind of like push her to like, go to those different, not only our community building events, but like the different events that we actually have like on campus and things like that. So I would say, of course, with Augusta Promise, there are like the requirements that they have to meet, but it's very like minimalized requirements. But like I stated, it's more for them to get accommodated to the university. So some of the requirements is like attend 4 different enrichment events. So this might be an academic, a career services, like maybe a homecoming event, something like big and things like that, or like civic engagement. Those type of college experiences. Like at least try it once. Right. At least try it once. However, if you don't like it, you only have to do it like once. At least do one of those 4 things like once a semester, and then it's like, okay, if you don't, you don't. But however, like I said, just trying to get them more accommodated, where it's like, like we kind of said, we wish we had that push, when we was, in undergrad. So I feel like it's important to have those different like segues for the students.
Yeah, because I think coming from high school to college, in high school, there's all that structure built in, whether it's from your schedule or how it's built with the admin to support you to make sure that you're going to graduate. But when you're on a college campus, you may not necessarily have that, especially if you're first gen and you don't know what that might look like. Yeah. Having that mentorship program, having just professionals like you involved, like it definitely...
The self-discipline at that, too.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference. And I guess, what is it like for you when you see your mentors and your partners in the program just starting to connect and bond and just naturally starting to connect? What is that like for you?
It's like a great feeling. It's a warm feeling. Like, essentially, it makes me feel like it's natural at the end of the day. Like, it's nothing forced. Like I stated, like we have essentially 5 Promise Scholars and we have 5 mentors or Promise Partners, They kind of like pair with each other. Like I said, it can be, we kind of paired them with like academic standpoints, something that like might be like their hobbies and things like that. So it's very intentional to already have like some type of connection. But however, like they've been building their own connections without me. Like I said, we only have 2 community building events per semester. So essentially, I might see all of them in one room at that time if they're not in class. But other than that, I see them more on an individual aspect and things of that nature. So just seeing them actually bond with each other, actually might see them in the JSAC just having lunch and things like that. It warms my heart because it's like, oh, they have a buddy. And it's like, it's not a buddy program, but it's just like, it's just nice because it's always nice for someone to have someone else, especially when they are trying to navigate their first year at a university.
Yeah, the first year can definitely be tricky.
It is.
And you have just the natural learning curve of that transition, but like you said, whether you're first gen or have any other barriers existing, it can definitely have an impact on your success. But to switch gears a little bit, I have a fun game that I want to play with you just to see some more of Sierra Sasha's perspectives on things. So we have pause up, pause down.
Okay.
If you agree with the statement, I want you to give it a pause up.
Okay.
But if not, I want you to give it a pause down.
Okay.
So first up is buying textbooks brand new from the bookstore instead of renting or purchasing used books.
And it is based off my own perspective, right?
Yeah, you can just you're speaking for you. Pause up.
I like new things. I like new things.
You like new things?
It makes sense to buy new textbooks because I can highlight my own things and make my own notes that way. So I feel like it's more important, but everybody has a different perspective.
I got you.
Yeah.
I definitely love to find them on Amazon Kindle so I can rent, and I can still kind of have that same experience of just renting, even though it's digital. So it's like, but it's on my iPad, so I can still highlight things and refer back to it. But I know once the end of the semester hits, it goes away because it's a little bit more affordable.
Yeah.
But next up, getting a part-time job while attending school to help cover expenses. Pause up.
I would say more of having an on-campus job, if you can. I do understand that everybody may not have the experience to get an on-campus job, but I would say it builds like that, the self-discipline essentially to already be aware of like, what is it like to juggle two things at one time, academics and work? Because even if you become like a graduate student and things like that, you know, you might have a graduate assistantship, or you might have to take that part-time job or full-time job to just make ends meet at the end of the day. So
Yeah, I definitely recommend folks working on campus if you can, because for those folks, they understand more than anyone else that you're a student.
Yeah.
And that sometimes you'll have competing priorities, rotating priorities,
Yeah.
and things just outside of the job, and they're okay with it because they understand that.
and you actually get the grace that you deserve at the end of the day. Like me, I kind of started off in an office just like, you know, multicultural student engagement from my undergrad, and literally from a student to even a coordinator there and things of that nature, they understood when I was a student first. So it was like, take care of yourself. Why are you here if you have a migraine? Please go home. You know, if you have like a big job or like a full-time job at that point, they might be like, well, you know, you might be sick and gotta be here. So it's like, you know, as a student, if you are capable of getting a job on campus, I hope so. Because you can get that grace and understanding that other external places won't understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Next up, using student discounts for entertainment and dining around town. Pause up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every penny
Jack
counts.
Perks.
Every penny counts at the end of the day. It does.
Yeah, I love all of our Jack Perks partners that gives us discounts around town. Splurging on daily coffee or snacks from a cafe instead of making it at home.
I just got better at this in my adult.
Okay, you gave it a pause down.
I just got better at it. I just finally got a Keurig. I was definitely one of the students who was definitely going to like the cafeteria, always going to Starbucks and things like that. Get yourself a Keurig, save some money. Definitely, you know, do what's best for you. If that brings you self-care and joy, definitely go for it. But have balance, I'll say. Definitely have balance, fair. You know. And I keep it that way. Just have some type of balance.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people that's like, I just need to treat myself. Yeah, so I just want to...
And you deserve it.
Ooh, this is a good one. Using credit cards to pay for tuition and school-related expenses. Pause down.
Pause down. You know, if you have to take out a student loan, I feel like that's fine. But a credit card, that can become very tricky and things like that. Because, you know, unfortunately, I had to take out loans and things like that. Did I have to use credit cards to get like my MacBook and things like that? Especially since I went out of state and that, you know, I didn't stay in Georgia and things like that. So there wasn't help and things. So I used the credit card for those purposes, but not to actually pay for my tuition. So I'll say, Jack, pause down for that one. Yeah.
Taking advantage of campus resources like tutoring and fitness centers instead of paying for outside services. You had paused up before I even finished.
And I had to look in the mirror for that one, sorry. It's definitely a pause up. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't utilize my campus resources. And I'm a big advocate to this day of please use your resources. Because one, it's there for a reason.
Right.
You know, everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a job to do and things like that. And for the students, these resources are built for them. It's not built for us, you know. So essentially, definitely use SCAPs, definitely use, you know, academic success services, use all of those things. Even if you feel like it might be the bare minimum question, go ask a question, you know. You'll never know if your student org might need funding. Go talk to SGA or, you know, go talk to different big offices who might have those fundings set aside for you, you know. You'll never know what you can find out until you go and ask. So never be afraid to ask.
Yeah, and your tuition and fees cover so much.
Yeah.
Like, don't waste the money that you're spending. Like, take advantage of it all.
Yeah.
Because literally once you graduate, you will have to be paying for all of these services individually. And it adds up.
It does.
Next up, spending money on expenses or experiences like concerts or trips rather than saving for future expenses.
That's a good one.
You're hesitating.
I am. Read the question one more time.
Spending money on experiences like concerts and trips rather than saving for future expenses.
That's really a good one.
Don't overthink it.
I'm going to say pause down.
Okay.
As I stated earlier, definitely take care of yourself, find moments of joy and things like that. I wish even when I was a student and things like that, if I had, I was always about academics. I didn't even do too many on-campus events and things like that. Didn't get to travel. But however, I wish I did have those moments where it's like I was able to go and take a trip and things like that. But unfortunately for me and my experience, academics was important. I had bills and things like that because I was paying for my own college experience and things of that nature. So I had to do what was right for me. But for other people, definitely take the trip, But don't overindulge in those type of things when you have school you have to pay for, a car note or things of that nature. So
yeah, my first thought for that one is like in moderation.
Yeah.
Right. Like trying to splurge on every opportunity to have fun.
Yeah.
Can't recommend that. But yeah, sometimes, you need to just...
Yeah, if you have responsibilities, unfortunately, you can't just go and take the trip or go to a concert and things like that.
Next up, buying name brand items over generic alternatives for groceries and supplies.
Y'all got some good questions.
And once again, this is for you.
I know.
This is for you.
So you said buying name brand over generic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say pause out. And this is my perspective. I guess I'm just a name brand girly because one, not everybody, at least not everybody's, as they was growing up, was able to have those type of things. So now being an adult, being able to kind of afford some of those name brand things, I do like to have those things. So like for me, I like my, essentially different Apple products and things like that, because it might work better for me, how it connects with my phone, everything like that in that sense. So for me, it does kind of matter depending on what you're utilizing it for. So
I feel like freshman year me is definitely, hey, you're going to have to make some sacrifices because you don't have the money to choose. Yeah. So generic, but, now that I have adult money, I can, have the choice to choose between my name brand or which name brand or generic I want to go to. But I kind of am a name brand person too.
At least at this point, we just have to look for the sales, Mm-hmm. So that's why I was like, back then, of course it was generic. Now, since we have the big jobs and things like that, at least full-time jobs, it's like, okay, I could probably get name brand, but look for a sale. Mm-hmm.
Any other final thoughts before I let you go that might just be helpful for any student who is thinking about being a Augusta Promise student?
So essentially, like we kind of stated today, like today was definitely about like resource information. So definitely utilize those resources, like apply to be an Augusta Promise Scholar. Hopefully we get your application and things like that and kind of just move forward from there. I mean, it's here for you for a reason, Of course, like I said, we really want every student to feel, valued and welcomed. And of course, to utilize those resources for you can possibly graduate, debt-free. So, yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Sierra Sasha, for being here chatting with us. I think you did a great job with pause up, pause down. But yeah, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
All right, so first I want to say thank you again to Matthew and Sierra Sasha. I really enjoyed talking to them both and them giving their perspectives on what's making our university unique. 100% support and appreciate the Augusta Promise Scholarship. So if you're interested, feel free to check that out. And if you are a prospective student out there and you think that this is the place for you, don't hesitate to go ahead and apply. Applications, as you already know from Matthew, are still open. So we'd love to see you here this fall. And until then, I will see you guys in the next episode. Go Jags!